This trader turned just $2,100 into $232,000 in just a month. This trader doesn't make a lot of trades, but when he does, it pays off big, as he's up by $560,000. And this trader continuously makes huge gains, with his most recent one being $233,000 in just 3 days. And we are starting off with an insane gain by Muddy Spartan 117, who in just 1 month turned $2,100 into $232,000, which means he multiplied his account 110 times. And at least based on his chart, this wasn't from just a single gain. Instead, it was most likely from multiple consecutive gains, making his achievement even more impressive. Simply put, he was trading a lot of QQQ and SPY 0 and 1 day till expiry options and meta puts on most Fridays after the high of the day. We've seen this strategy many times and in most cases it ends badly, but I guess he's just built different. And honestly he is, because he actually uses a strategy completely unknown to WallStreetBets called stop losses, although it actually took him 2 accounts to learn to use stop losses. And it depends on the trade, but if you're really confident on a play, he would set a stop loss at 35%, but most of his stop losses stopped after 20 to 25% of losses. Aside from that, he also made more smart decisions, as he already withdrew around 60k, paid off his debts and has money saved, although he still wants at least 400k, so he's not stopping. Next, we have a trader who isn't making a lot of trades. In fact, in September he made just 1 trade, as he's being extremely selective. He goes by the name of 7 Mary Nikak and is only looking for promising YOLOs and will wait patiently. Now it looks like his patience is paying off, as he's up by $563,637.33, and when we compare the all-time chart with the year-to-date chart, we can see that it probably took him just about 2 years to get to more than $500,000. But how does he spot these life-changing opportunities? Well, what he's particularly better at is finding reversals. He looks at charts for all the major indices as well as DXY, Treasury and oil in all time frames. If he believes SPY, QQQ and DJI are going up over the coming weeks, he'll look to buy on pullbacks. He rarely buys on or after big green moves, and he usually buys calls with 2 weeks to expiry and even 1 week if he's feeling confident. So in short, what he's looking for is 1 home run of 10x, but he will also pick up a few 10 to 100% gainers along the way. He almost went all in Carvana stock at around $5 that has 10x in share price alone. Those are rare to come by, but he only needs 1. Next, we have an insane gain by Kenway, who's up by 233k in the past 3 days after destroying the algos. He described his experience in a lot of detail, but I'll try to sum it up. First of all, he was sure the market was preparing a setup for a pump because of a few indicators. The blue line is the SPY, the orange line is the technical market depth, the red line is the weeks to wicks ratio, and the white line is the wicks 3 months to wicks ratio. The market depth ended at approximately 15%, basically at the same levels as the banking crisis and in April to June in 2022. And in both of these cases, the market rallied right after because of big buyers stepping in. The weeks to wicks ratio is at the same levels as the first correction from the top. The implied volatility of wicks is completely different compared to the 2022 lagdowns, which means we probably won't have a clear downtrend. And the wicks 3 months to wicks ratio was extremely low, approaching SVB crash and January levels, as wicks always tends to have lower values than its 3-month version, and any anomaly in the ratio does not last in normal market scenarios. So based on his theory, he made around 150 trades in 3 days, mostly Nasdaq but also ES and a few other tickers. Now looking at the screenshot of his trades, we can see that there is a lot of arrows. Every red arrow is a short and every blue arrow is a long. He went into detail about his largest trades, so if you want to go over them, I'll leave the link to the post in the description, but simply put, he was wrong at the start of his trades more than once, but then the market luckily went the way he expected it to go, which is why he ended the post with this fitting quote by Confucius: "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." Having that said, this wasn't his first huge gain, because 3 months ago he made 132k in just a day without options. 2 months ago he made 84k in 2 days, and 1 month ago he somehow made more than $318,000 in just a day. Just like in the first post, he also expected something to happen. This time it was a sell-off. First of all, he predicted the market top weeks ago, and then he's identified a similar lag down structure what happened back in 2022. With that being said, he was waiting for a momentum rally in the last week as the best setup for a big short, and this is what happened on that day. He decided to short the Nasdaq with 400 futures contracts before the Nvidia earnings report. Then he had to hedge during the night until the EU session, because he didn't expect that market reaction. He didn't try to scalp during the sell-off because he still remembers how these kinds of days were structured. So instead he tried to build a trend following strategy, adding more shorts during the day. He also opened a midday tranche of 400 extra contracts when everyone was expecting the famous intraday V, which ended with a bull trap and dump until the end of the day. So he closed everything end of the day as well. Understandably, he hasn't slept in those 48 hours. So not only does he make huge gains in a very short period of time, but he also makes them consistently, and it seems like it's not luck and he knows what he's doing, or at least he believes he knows what he's doing. And last but not least, we have a trader by the name of DJK1812 whose gambling knows no bounds. He's back from the dead with a solid 600% day as he turned just $800 into $5,763.17. For some context, 2 months ago he posted his insane loss of 100% or $82,202.05. He was left with $3.48 because he was trading 0-day sale expiry options. And I guess he hasn't learned a thing, because this new gain was from 0-day sale expiry SLV puts and calls with a striking price at $19.50 and from 0-day sale expiry SPY calls with a striking price at $430. So he's gambling the same way he was when he lost everything. And despite this lucky gain, he still thinks he could have made more, because at around 10:10 AM when SPY was trading below $421, people were willing to sell the SPY call with a striking price at $430 for 2 cents. So at $2 per contract, he could have bought 1,500 contracts for a total of $3,000. By 2:45 PM, since these calls went from deep out of the money to in the money, people were willing to buy these contracts for $1.30, so at $130 per contract, which means he could have sold 1,500 contracts for $195,000. And because of this mentality, he's probably just going to continue doing the same thing he's been doing for the past 2 years. And don't get me wrong, he even made some nice gains, but in the process he blew up his account not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And if you want to see how this 21-year-old turned just $3,500 into $350,000 over the summer just to lose it all, click on the video that just popped up. If you like my content, make sure to subscribe, and if you have any questions or recommendations, leave in the comments down below, and thanks for watching.